Hello. Good evening. Happy Thursday. And thank you for joining. So, tonight we are going to answer a burning question, or maybe not a burning question, but a question nonetheless. Today we're going to tackle what is an NFT and why you should care. So just want to start by saying you may not care. But in case you are a creator, a creative of any kind, this is important to you. So we're going to just jump right in. I'm going to start with some just base definitions so that we're all on the same page, because I think that's probably the biggest barrier is, okay, what the heck is an NFT? What are they talking about? And the full name doesn't really help unless you're in the space. So an NFT is a non-fungible token. Okay. Still, what does that mean, right? So a fungible token, or something that is fungible, is something that can be exchanged for another item of equal value. And I guess the best and easiest example to give is that if I had $1 and I exchanged that for another $1, those dollars have the same exact value. It doesn't matter that they may have a different serial number on them or they were printed at a different time. Those $2 are equal. If I give you one, you give me one. We haven't lost or gained anything. Same thing if I gave you $1, you gave me 10 dimes or 4 quarters, etc. You get the gist. So a non-fungible token or item or asset is something that is unique and cannot be exchanged for the exact same item. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about NFTs. Just as a base, a non-fungible token is a unique asset. And in this case specifically, it's a unique asset that sits on a blockchain. What is a blockchain, you may ask? A blockchain is just another term for a database, but it has a different name because it stores data differently. I have an IT background, so some of this is familiar to me, and hopefully I'm not speeding through it, but database is basically information is stored in tables, and usually there are rows. You can delete them, you can add them, or there are columns and you can delete the same concept. They're related by some key or something like that. So that's not really important to this conversation, but that's the standard. But a blockchain, data is stored in chunks, blocks, and when that block is full, it's essentially chained to the former the data that came before it. And so that position that the data stores is unique, and that's really where the NFT rests. So in some unique position on some chain of data in a database, the blockchain. Okay, so the good or great thing about NFTs is what they have done is they created a standard for digital assets. So if you're an entrepreneur and you have a website, that's a domain name, right? That's your digital asset. So is an electronic ticket that you may have bought for an airline where you didn't get a printed ticket, or for a concert. But they although they're both digital assets, they are not represented the same. So the NFT creates like the standard where every digital asset that rests on the chain can be identified the same way, even though it may contain totally different contents. We can identify, we can determine who owned it, when it was transferred, all of that good gravy. And I guess a good way to compare that to something is HTML is like coding language. It's a web standard. So across the world, wherever you go, people know that code and they can communicate when they're creating programs, no matter where they're from. I also thought, I don't know if this is even a good example anymore because we've changed the class, but generally if you've got a laptop and it's got a USB port, right, where you plug in some accessory to it, they all are the same size. So you can go to the store and buy a mouse or some other accessory that you want to plug in. They're all going to fit in that port because that USB, that universal serial bus, it's a standard. So they're made the same way. So that's a good thing about it. All right. I think that's about enough of technical jargon. Let's get to the why you would care, because I had a conversation today and it was very difficult for me to really quantify why, as a consumer, you would want to purchase a non-fungible token, right? But I had to get to the base of it, is that art or beauty and desire to own something really relies on the individual who's making the purchase. And my point of coming to you tonight with this was more around not the consumer so much, but the creator, the one who would provide something that someone may be interested to buy. And I know that a lot of folks that follow me and related to friends, family, however, are in a space where they create art, they create music, they dance, right? And so this is a realm where artists can create something that is collectible, and that they can really, the market can determine the value. So it's just another space where you can go ahead and get your craft or your items or whatever it is that you want to share out to the world. And there's a great opportunity for earning here. So I just want to make sure that the folks that follow me or that tune in kind of understand what it is that's going on, and don't just blow by it because maybe you don't know what they're talking about, or that this isn't something that you would necessarily immediately buy. But when you get into it, you may find that this is something that you want to be a part of. You want to collect NFTs, you want to own them and be able to say, I have ownership to that. Now, important parts that I think as far as with respect to creating ownership, because over here ownership is everything. If you're an artist and you want to create an NFT, you want to make sure that you own all of the underlying art that token, that asset, the NFT represents. So I've been in a couple of rooms and listening to trainings because I like to learn as much as I can when new things are happening in the market that can impact my clients or future customers. And I've heard some really cool applications of what you could do with an NFT. For example, there was one artist who said that he used it as a place for digital merchandising. So handwritten lyrics to songs for folks who are really fans, collectibles for tickets to entry to shows, snippets of songs with art to go with it. All of these different things really, in my mind, I'm like, wow, there's so many uses for this. There are so many different ways that you can create art and mix it with music and dance. And obviously music, there's copyright rules. There are all types of things that go along with that. But if you're a creator and you own those rights, there's just so much you can do to increase your relations with your consumers, like your clients, your customers, as we would call them in my business, or your fans, the people who love what you produce. There's just more opportunity for them to share in the work that you have to bring to the market. So I think it's very important before you go out and create an NFT and put it out there that you make sure that if it's you own the rights to the song if it includes music, or that if you get someone to create the digital art for you, graphic art that you're going to create into this digital asset, that you get a work for hire agreement, or you make sure that you own the rights to go ahead and put that out there and sell it. Or if you're going to put lyrics out, that you copyright your lyrics in with registration, right? Those are all still applicable, even though it's a digital world and an asset that you can't physically touch. You still have to protect all of those rights, because what you're selling when you sell an NFT is that token, not the underlying information. So with anything, as I would say, before you bring it out to market, make sure that you have your ducks in a row and you own everything. And you have the appropriate right to go ahead and put that out there. I also want to share that with NFTs, the way that they work is with something called a smart contract. And a smart contract is not a contract. So I wanted to make sure that I said that, because a smart contract is more like code that is assigned to that token or asset, so that it tells it what it can do, meaning it proves ownership. You can see who owned it, if it's transferred or sold. And a lot of times there are commissions. So if I were to create, I scribble a lot, notepads. If I were to create an NFT of my scribbles, which hopefully you guys want it, but I don't know, then I could forever, depending on how I set up that sale, get a commission from the person who sells it and sells it and sells it, right? Every time it's resold or transferred, I can set up rules in the smart contract that say every time it moves, I get some portion of the underlying sales as it goes forward. Also, if I were, because the early uses of NFT were really around gaming. So if I were, creating maybe accessories for a game, maybe shirts or I don't know, guns, swords, whatever goes in games. I'm not a gamer. I could say there are not just going to be one of them. There'll be 50. And when we get to 50, don't sell anymore because my item is limited. And it's still a non-fungible token. It's still unique because it will rest on its own position on the blockchain, even though you can make multiples of them. Hopefully that makes sense. And if any of this is confusing or you like to know any more, I'm definitely saving this, and you can certainly ask questions in the comments, and I'll do our best to get back to you with additional details. So make sure that you're covered with a written contract with anything that you do. If you get someone to help you create an NFT, if you get someone to help you set up your wallet and make sure that you're getting the right type of deal, or you're getting commissions as the thing is transferred or as it grows, if it grows in value, make sure that you have written agreements as you go navigate through all of that. If you're an artist, specifically a music or recording artist, you want to really investigate with legal counsel before or even now. Go back and look and see, what have you signed? Does your label have rights to any production of you or anything that you do? Like, some of those deals are that deep. So if you haven't signed a deal and that's something that you're looking into, like, try to exclude those rights, right? Try to make sure that you still own the right to do that kind of thing, which can be a great kind of appeal to your fan base. So look at those contracts, and remember, a smart contract is not an actual contract. It's more about code and how the NFT will function on the blockchain and how it gets transferred, sold, moved around, etc. And I think that about covers what I wanted to sell. Oh no, I did have one other thing I wanted to share, and that is to be very careful. If you get into this, be careful about how you get them created. So you can go to OpenSeas.io and read. It's the NFT Bible, or just search in the internet NFT Bible, and that it should come up. It's a pretty good resource if you're into technical and you really want to know, a little bit deeper for yourself. You can read through it, and that is a resource that you can create your NFT for free. There are other sites. There's plenty of them out there. I'm not affiliated with any of them, but I just wanted to point that out because there are fees for creating NFTs. They cost digital currency, which translates to some value in money, and sometimes there are fees to even sell it. So we're hearing a lot about the $1 million cat and the $2 million tweet, and those are anomalies. So they're like the outside. That's not what the average user is going to get from their digital asset. So make sure that you think about, how much is this going to cost me, and what do I think I can sell, because you don't want to come out at a loss. But for people who are creative, who really think in terms of changing the dimension of something and mashing it together and maybe creating something new, like if that's what you do daily, this is a great opportunity for you to take it to a new medium. So I would hate for like the technical jargon or the names to be of things to be a reason that you don't participate in what is largely like a boom. There's something happening here in the marketplace that I would like everyone to have the opportunity to enjoy and to capitalize on if they so choose. And so hopefully this information is giving you kind of the fundamentals of what you need to get started and helps you to own your stuff. So I think that's about it. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I hope that this was a help for you and that you can use this to your betterment. I will be back next Thursday. We don't have the topic yet, but we'll be back. Come back, join us, listen in. And for everyone who is hurting today, for everyone who is struggling, I'm struggling myself. The TV, the news, it's difficult to deal with what we have going on in this country, and I just want to say that you're not alone, and we will all work together until we can stop seeing what we're seeing every day, and not expecting to be traumatized by those who are meant to protect us. So I'm here with you, and I thank you for joining, and I will talk to you next week.